We're back. We are back inside the Soul Online Network private podcast. And today we are doing things a little different. If you are not familiar with me, I am Criss Madrigal. I am the host of the Soul Online Network private podcast and the founder of the Soul Online Network. And as of today, we are now streaming our podcast live directly into Facebook today so that our guests have that immediate access to share their episode with their audience. And for me, it really continues to just build on the excitement after every conversation because these episodes are the ones that allow me to get to know all of our guests at a little bit more in depth and just get to know the real person behind the mic. And today is absolutely no different. I am joined by Monica Connolly, a transformation catalyst coach, speaker, and host of the Unshakeable Belief podcast. And Monica is also one of our guest experts inside the Soul Align Network. And I'm just going to take this moment to say she is also hosting a signature event coming up. It is The Lie is Loud, reclaiming your personal power when life has tried to silence you. So I just had to throw that in there because I'm excited about that too. And this is going to be held by Monica inside our community on Friday, February 27th. So if you're not a part of the Soul Align Network, this is your chance to join. But now I want to officially welcome Monica. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you and to, kind of, be able to serve the women that are in your community.
Thank you. I am really excited to dive into today's conversation because I know that it's going to be one that so many women will resonate to or resonate with. And it's so familiar. And it's the story of the woman who just really looks fine on paper, but really depleted and not feeling their best inside. But before we dive into that conversation, please tell us a little bit about what got you into the work that you do today because it's powerful and you have so many incredible things that you do.
Yeah. So I was, like you said, that woman who looked like I had everything. On paper, I was very accomplished in my job. I was married, I had kids, looked like everything was good. But I had completely lost myself. I had lost my identity. I had lost my purpose. I was surviving day to day, not living. And I got invited into a room by a friend. She hosts events and brings women together. And I was like, oh no, I've never done anything like that before. That's just like, I can't do that. And she kept prodding and prodding. And I got in the room and it was like a veil was lifted and I saw what was possible. I
Mm.
saw what you could do and what you could dream about that I had kind of put back and buried for a very long time. Got in that room and made a commitment to her. She asked me to stand in front of the room and make a commitment of something I would do over the next year. And she wanted me to tell my story on a stage over the next year. And I was like, I will say whatever you want me to say if you let me go sit back down because I was terrified to talk in front of people and had no intention of keeping that promise whatsoever. But about 6 months later, I ended up at another a coaching event where we were being taught how to be coaches. And I got pulled on stage by the host and was told, you're going to get coached in front of 100 people.
Oh, wow.
Oh
No
my
pressure.
gosh. I no for sure. I was so scared. I can't even remember exactly what I said, but I had been contemplating going down the coaching route. I had a certification in holistic health and wellness already that I had gotten for myself to learn how to take care of myself. I had no idea that you could make a business with it. And so got coached on, well, like what's holding you back? Why are you so afraid to move forward with this? And I have a chronic illness. And because of that, I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to show up for my clients the way that I wanted to. And so got coached on that and realized like that's okay because not everybody's perfect. And even my coaches have had to cancel, calls and things like that before because life happens.
Mhm.
And I went home and registered for a Master Life Coaching certification the next day, completed that certification, and then took an additional certification to be a trauma informed coach as well. And just have been building this dream that I saw when I got in that room originally and was like, this is what's possible.
What was it, Monica, when you went into that room that really made you see that possibility?
There was a lot of other women in that room that were living their dreams or building their dreams. And it didn't fit nice and neat in a little box. And it wasn't what society said they should be doing. It was what they dreamed and what they wanted to do. And seeing that gave me permission to be like, oh, I don't have to have this life for the rest of my life. There's this whole other world over here that all I have to do is start taking steps and go that way.
Yeah. When you were speaking, I mean, you were saying like the same words that come out of my mouth, right? Like, I lived in survival mode for over a decade. That turned into an autoimmune condition. I lost my identity in motherhood. There's all these things. So I'm hearing you talk, and I'm like, yeah, that was me. And I know there's people that are going to hear this and are going to really resonate with it. Now, for you,
Yeah.
how do you support the women that, like you said, it looks like you're super successful on the outside, which you may be, right? You can have that. I was in corporate for 20 years before I stepped away. And
Yeah.
that, from the outside looking in, it's like, great, you have all the things, but there's that emptiness inside, right?
Yeah.
That only you can fulfill for yourself. And I think that's the key, right? So many people are looking on the outside for things to fill their needs, fill their desires, but really it's you who can do that for yourself. So what what do you tell the women who come into your world, with that, and how to really I'm going to say start to love yourself to get that dream back?
Yeah. So for me, that was really the first step. I had to learn to love myself. And at the time, I weighed over 300 pounds and had not loved myself for a very, very, very long time. So for me, I think anybody who has had a weight issue, you set a goal every year. Oh, I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to find that job that I love. You can translate that into any area of your life. And until I sat down and really started doing the work on myself and really looked in the mirror and said, okay, what do I need to fix so that I can love myself again? And you're not broken, but there are things that you have started believing and lies that you started to believe and stories you've made up that keep you and they keep you alive when you're in survival mode, but you have to learn how to confront those and figure out what your reality is. And so for me, I had to do that mind work and nervous system healing, trauma coaching, all kinds of things like that. And then my body started healing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I coach women, it's a really full body. It's not, oh, I'm going to help you lose weight or something like that. It's really, we're going to fix your whole body. That includes your relationships, your issues with money, your, religious things that have come up where people have, church hurt or things like that. There's so much that comes into that. It's not just we're going to fix how you think because it's not how you think. It's the process. Like your body goes, oh, I have to behave this way or I have to think this because this keeps me alive.
Hmm.
And so really teaching your body it's okay to dream. It's okay to use your voice and be heard. It's okay to take up space. For a lot of women that were me and you, that is very scary. And so slowly moving through a process, I do a 6 week process that slowly moves you through that to help you reach where you feel like, oh, I know who I am. And I can start to see my dreams again. I remember who I was.
Hmm.
And so that it's really a whole body experience.
Yeah. Now, what was that step for you? What was that initial step that you took to love yourself? I know for me, it was releasing a little bit of that mom guilt and knowing that I had to give myself time for me in order to be able to show up for them. So for me, it just started small. Like I just need some time for myself to take coaching classes at that time. I hired a coach, right? And then that turned into something else for me where now, I'm thinking similar to you. It's like it works on you. Now you want to help others. Now, what is that first step that you took for yourself for self-love?
Yeah, so mine was two things. It was going and getting a haircut because I had not gone and gotten a haircut for years because I didn't have time. I thought that was the excuse. That was what I told myself. I don't have time to do that. My kids need me for this. I need to be there for that. I don't have time to do that. So taking time for myself, even an hour to go get a haircut. And the second was coaching. I started working with a trauma coach and I continued that for 3 years. And I have hired additional coaches along the way, and it was the best thing I could do for myself.
Yeah, I always tell people I will always have a coach. It may be in a different
Yeah.
focus area throughout time, but I can't see myself not having a coach at any point moving forward.
No. Once you've had that experience, I think that you realize how valuable that is and the community that it brings, and that,
Mhm.
you can outgrow a coach,
Right.
but you're always looking for that next room, that next coach, that next mentor who can take you up that next level and raise that ceiling for you.
Yeah, which is a conversation we were having right before we came on air, right? That we enter different communities, and as we grow and evolve, those communities, we may outgrow them ourselves, or we would choose to
Yeah.
expand them so that applies in business and personal life as well. Now, Monica, I know you talk about moving from survival to steadiness. So, what did that shift actually look like for you personally? And what do you see most people or most women, I should say, missing when they're trying to heal?
Yeah, it's an evolving process. I feel like it's called a journey for a reason because you're always, trying to do better for yourself and you're always trying to heal more. So I don't ever say I've arrived, I've healed, I've because it's a journey.
Mhm.
So for me, really, it was getting into coaching and taking a look at what are things that I believe that maybe aren't true and what is the truth around those. Nervous system healing was really important for me. A lot of women who are those high performers, people pleasers, you know, those corporate women that are doing so well in the corporate world, but they can't sit still. They have to be busy all the time. They're constantly moving from project, right? Project to project. And stillness and quiet feels very, very wrong to them. And so for me, I started with sitting for 1 minute by myself in a quiet room. And that's where I had to start was just 1 minute. And you think about you go for a walk, but are you listening to music while you're walking? Are you talking on the phone while you're walking? Or are you actually just walking and allowing yourself to just think about whatever comes to mind?
Mhm.
And so many of us, it goes back to that busyness where we don't just sit with ourselves. We don't just sit and allow ourselves to dream or allow our minds to wander. We have to be, oh, I have to be on the phone or I've got to be listening to music. And so that quiet time and starting with as little as 1 minute every day is it's if you're going to take a step and you're trying to do that, start with that.
Yeah. I remember my kids even telling me, Mom, why don't you just sit down? You need to sit down, take a break. And when your own kids bring it up to you, it just lands differently. Like, can you
Yeah.
just sit down and, don't worry about the house. Just sit down with us. Let's just watch TV together. And it just, it lands differently because now you're hearing it from someone who really desires your attention, but your body's telling you something different.
Yeah,
Now
absolutely.
I can sit in the hot tub for a
Yeah.
while. But it takes time, right? It takes time to
Yeah.
be able to do that and not view it as a waste of time because that's how it's like, how can I be sitting here? I could be doing this, 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 and this. Now I sit in the bathtub and I'm like, okay, this is where I get my inspiration. And I really do. And so
Yeah.
I see it as this is my time. And I'm also super productive by just being still.
Yeah. That's you just have to like you have to get where you can make that switch where you can say, okay, this quiet time that I take for myself, I don't need permission to rest. I don't need permission to, take a few quiet moments. That is something that, that's not something you should ever feel like you have to ask permission for. And so when you can flip that in your mind where it's like, no, I am going to go and take this time because when I take this time, it makes me a better person. It makes me a better mom. It makes me a better employee. And so I'm going to take this 20 minutes every day to, do something that's important to me and make myself a priority so that I can continue to keep these other things going the way that they need to be and be able to give them that attention and focus and things like that when I'm in that realm too. So when you're there and you can be present with your kids because you're not busy worrying about what am I supposed to be doing over here and oh I'm gonna have to do this later, you are gonna find that you can be so much more of a present parent and really, you'll remember those things and you'll have those memories.
Yeah. And I know for me, my mind just always felt chaotic. And not only that, that chaos kind of expands into different areas of life. And so how do you put that chaos and tie it to like regulating our nervous system to really,
Yeah, that's
yeah, that to help us then change different areas, right? Whatever that may be.
No, it's funny. I say this to my kids that what's going on in your mind actually spills out into life. And you will see that spill out into how you take care of your things, what your house looks like,
Mhm.
how, do you take care of your clothes? How do you dress? It all spills out into the rest of your life. And you can build a facade and put up a wall so that people don't get close enough that they can see, oh, there's some chaos going on there. You can build that wall, but in doing so you're blocking that community and you're not being authentic to who you are. So by being able to take nervous system tools and learn to be able to have more control over your emotions, learn to be able to react to a situation in a non emotional way. Something that was big for me was learning to not take things so personally.
Mhm.
If somebody did something that you know, it's not always directed at you. They probably don't even realize that what they've done has made you feel like that. So it's learning how to calm those emotions, not react from that heightened emotional state. And you'll start to see that your thoughts will calm down. You'll start, it's crazy if you find that it's really hard for you to dream about things or to be like, oh, like I can see myself doing this 5 years down the road. That's usually because you have so much stress and chaos going on. And when you're able to quiet your mind down, even just a 10 or 15-minute meditation a few times a week, you'll notice that your memory gets better, so you'll remember things better. And you'll notice that your mind will start to wander more and you'll be like, oh, like maybe I can do this, or what if I do that? You'll become more creative too.
Yeah. What would you say for people that are listening? What would you consider a nervous system tool that is easy for some? I don't know if easy is the right word, but that would be
Definitely.
the best
My
to start.
favorite, right? Something easy to start with. My favorite is a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly. You take a deep breath in through your nose for a count of four. You hold it for a count of four. You release for a count of four, and then you hold it again for a count of four. So it's called box breathing because it's like the four sides of a box. And do that 4 or 5 times. And that will help, it helps lower your blood pressure. It helps your nervous system start to calm down. That is a really easy tool. If you have essential oils that you love, you can always take and put a drop of essential oils on your hand. And while you're doing the breathing, you can smell the essential oils. A weighted blanket also while you're doing box breathing is
Oh,
another really good tool. Yeah,
while you're doing box breathing.
yeah, yeah. Put the blanket on, smell your essential oils, and do your breathing. And the pressure, for most people, the pressure of the weighted blanket is really calming for their nervous system. And so sitting and doing that for, for just even 1 or 2 minutes can really help settle your nervous system down.
Yeah. And I guess along those same lines, any meaningful steps that women can take to start to feel like themselves again. I know that one is good to just kind of let's calm our nervous system. And then what can they combine that with subsequently or, to just start to feel like themselves?
Yeah. One of my favorite is journaling. And a lot of people are like, oh, like I don't like to write. I don't know what to write down. That's okay. Start with 10 things you're grateful for. When you are in a state of gratefulness, your body, it's hard to feel any other emotion when you're feeling grateful. So it's a good way to also help calm your nervous system because being grateful doesn't allow another emotion. But when you are thinking about, and it can be something little, like it could be like, I'm grateful that I have electricity so that I have heat this winter, I'm grateful that my kid, shared something with me today. It can be something tiny, tiny. And just writing those down. And then as you start to write those down, start to write down any other thoughts that come to mind, and sometimes it can be you will be like, I'm grateful for this, but I wish that, I wish I could do this better, and learn how to rephrase that. I don't know how to do this yet, but I'm learning how to do this, or I'm going to learn how to do this. When you write it down, it makes it concrete in your brain. Your brain doesn't know the difference. So you can tell it whatever you want, it doesn't know the difference. And hearing it and seeing it and saying it to yourself over and over and over, your brain starts to believe it. So somebody who has a lot of feelings of, I'm worthless. I don't, I can't contribute anything. When they start saying positive things to themselves, your brain actually starts to change. The chemicals in your brain start to change, the synapses in your brain start to change, And you will eventually get to a point where you're like, that's the old me. That's not me anymore. And this is how I feel confident about myself and I love myself. And those things that were so hard before will become second nature to you.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. We can keep going on in this conversation, but for everyone that's tuning in, can you just tell us a little bit, Monica, about how they can continue to connect with you? You've got some incredible things coming up. I want you to tell us a little bit about your book that is launching in a few days, because I know that's one way that people can get to know you, your work, and that's just one part of it. So why don't we start there? Tell us about your book that's coming out.
Yeah, so my book launches on the 10th and it is called A Lie is Loud. And it's really talking to women about these are the lies that we've grown up with. And everybody's lie can be different, but what lies have you told yourself that aren't true and have kept you in survival mode? And how can you release those lies? And what are the truths that you're going to replace those lies with? So it has journaling prompts and reflections. It's my story with lots of tools to help you start taking steps in that direction so that you can start making changes.
I love it. I love it because, and this is for anybody that's tuning in. If what Monica has been talking about, the conversation that we've been having today resonates, this sounds like a great way to not only dive into your work, but it's also like a handbook in the process. Like you're teaching, but you're applying and you're doing it all at the same time. And that sounds amazing. Now, you also have a virtual event coming up, right? Rise and Thrive. So tell us how the two go hand in hand.
Yeah, so the title of the book, The Lie is Loud, is also kind of the basis of the virtual event. So there's myself and there's six other speakers, and it's a live event on February 21st. It's virtual, it is free to attend. You can get the links from my social media, you can get them from my website. It will be recorded and sent out. So if you are registered and you can't attend, you'll get the recording. But it's really women coming together who have faced grief or been in survival mode or, different. They're all going to speak on something different. One woman is going to come and talk about the lies around money that a lot of women believe. And so bringing all of us together for this event. It'll touch on six different areas and give you guys amazing tools that you can start to use right there during the event, but also a bunch of freebies that'll come if you register.
Beautiful. And then you also have your signature event that's coming up inside our community, the Soul Align Network, which I touched on right at the beginning, and that's The Lie is Loud. So I know everything goes hand in hand because this is the body of work that you do. So tell us a little bit about that so that anyone who's also interested, that's another free event that they can come into. As long as they are inside the Soul Align Network, they will have access to it. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so that is going to be an event that, like you said, is going to be available in the Soul Line Network, and really going more into, giving tangible steps and talking a little bit about my journey. And everybody has their own journey, but hopefully there's things that I felt or that I had happened to me that women can relate to and say, oh, this is, this I can resonate with this. And being able to, just pour into those women because like you said, so many times, so many of us don't take that time for ourselves. And so, you know, letting me come in and pour into you for a little bit and help you realize I do have these dreams and I was made for more than what I'm doing. And remembering who you were created to be and helping you reach that.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And lastly, how can people connect with you? What is the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, my website is probably the easiest. It's monicaconnollycoaching.com. All of my information is on there. My email address is on there. Everything is available there. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. You can go there and get access to everything.
Beautiful. And to everyone that's tuning in, thank you for showing up. We're excited to start bringing these episodes live to you. And until next time, please take care and honor where you're at in your becoming. Until next time, goodbye.